10 Nazi superweapons that failed spectacularly. World War II secrets. Berlin, 1945. Allied intelligence teams sweep through abandoned Nazi facilities and find blueprints for weapons that sound impossible. An 800-millimeter gun that needs 2,000 men to operate, a 1,000-ton tank, a space mirror to burn cities from orbit. While Germany built these fantasies, the Allies mass-produced 50,000 Shermans and 12,000 B-17. That's the difference between ambition and victory. This is the story of 10 Nazi superweapons that spectacularly failed. Let's dive in. Number 10, the Krummlauf, the gun that shot around corners. The Krummlauf was a curved barrel attachment for the Sturmgewehr 44. The idea? Shoot around corners without exposing yourself. Barrel bent 30 degrees with a periscope sight on top. The problem was physics. Every bullet scraping around that curve generated massive friction and heat. Forgotten weapons documented the result. The barrel wore out after just 160 rounds. A standard St. G 44 barrel lasted thousands. So German soldiers got a weapon good for exactly 160 shots before becoming useless. In sustained combat, that's 2 engagements. Then you're holding an expensive paperweight. Number 9, the Me-323 Gigant, the flying target. Picture the largest land-based transport of World War II. 6 engines, 100-foot wingspan, could carry 130 troops or a Panzer III tank. Now picture it flying at 135 miles per hour, completely unarmed, the size of a barn. Germany built 198 to ferry supplies to North Africa. They worked fine until Allied fighters showed up. April 1943. Operation Flax. 27 Gigants crossed from Sicily to Tunisia. RAF Spitfires intercept them. The National WWWII Museum records what happened. 21 shot down in a single engagement, over 120 Gigants lost in 1 week. Pilots called it target practice. The Gigant was designed for airspace Germany no longer controlled. Number 8, the V3 Hochdruckpumpe, the supergun that never fired. Hitler wanted to shell London from France. German engineers designed the V3, a 130-meter cannon buried in a hillside near Calais. Instead of one explosive charge, the V3 used multiple charges along the barrel, each detonating as the shell passed. It could theoretically fire 600 rounds per hour at London. In July 1944, before firing a single shot, RAF bombers hit it with tallboy earthquake bombs. The 5-ton bombs buried themselves deep underground, creating shock waves that collapsed the concrete bunkers. The V3 never fired in anger. A smaller version later fired 183 rounds at Luxembourg, killing 10 people. One RAF bombing raid could drop hundreds of tons of explosives. Number 7, the Silbervogel, the space bomber that couldn't fly. Austrian engineer Eugen Sanger proposed a rocket plane that would launch into space, skip along the upper atmosphere like a stone on water, bomb New York, and land in Japanese territory. The Silbervogel was supposed to reach 22,000 miles per hour at 90-mile altitude. This was 1941, and Sanger wanted a suborbital spaceplane. The physics didn't work. Re-entry heat would melt any 1940s material. Fuel requirements were impossible. Guidance systems didn't exist. NASA later analyzed it and confirmed, impossible with 1940s technology, probably impossible with 1960s technology too. It never left the drawing board. Number 6, the Horten Ho 229, the stealth jet that killed its pilot. The Horten Ho 229 was a flying wing jet fighter. No fuselage, no tail, just a wing with 2 engines. It looked decades ahead because it was the design-reduced radar signature, making it an early stealth aircraft. March 1944, first prototype flew successfully. December, second crashed. February 1945, third prototype's first flight. On its third test flight, 1 engine failed. The Smithsonian records what happened. Uncontrollable spin, test pilot Erwin Ziller killed. The Ho 229 never flew again. Americans captured the prototypes. Northrop used the research decades later for the B-2 bomber. Visionary design. But it killed its pilot before entering combat with months left before Germany's surrender. Number 5, the Natter, the rocket plane with a 70% crash rate, the Bhmb 349. Natter might be the most desperate weapon here. A wooden rocket plane launched vertically like a missile, piloted by a human, designed to fly straight up into bomber formations, fire rockets, then the pilot ejects while the aircraft falls for reuse. Germany's plan was strapping pilots to vertically launched rockets. The specs are surreal. Vertical launch, 1 minute to 12,000 meters, 24 unguided rockets, 70 seconds powered flight. Then bail out, hoping your parachute works. 10 test flights, 7 crashed, 1 pilot killed when the canopy separated during launch. Program canceled after first combat launch in April 1945. You don't save nations by turning pilots into ammunition. Number 4, the Panzer VIII Maus, the tank too heavy to cross bridges. The Panzer VIII Maus was the heaviest tank ever built, 188 tons. That's 120 tons heavier than a modern M1 Abrams. Hitler approved it in 1942. The specs: 128mm main gun, 240mm frontal armor, immune to any Allied weapon. And it succeeded. Nothing could penetrate the Maus frontally. It also couldn't cross any bridge in Europe. 2 prototypes were built. The Maus sank in soft ground. Bridges collapsed under its weight. It could only cross rivers by driving along the bottom with a snorkel, requiring special preparation. Maximum speed, 13 miles per hour. Fuel consumption so high its range was measured in dozens of kilometers, not hundreds. Soviets captured both in 1945, combined parts to create one operational vehicle, tested it, and concluded it was militarily useless. Number 3, the Schwerer Gustav, the biggest gun ever built. Schwerer Gustav was an 800mm railway gun. Largest artillery piece ever used in combat. Fired 7-ton shells that could penetrate 24 feet of concrete. The numbers: 1,350 tons, 155 feet long, required 2 parallel railway tracks, needed 2,000 men in 2 days to assemble. It fired 48 shells total during the entire war. Those 48 shells hit Sevastopol in June 1942. The gun worked exactly as designed, destroying fortifications and an ammunition dump 100 feet underground. But the cost: thousands of tons of steel, specialized manufacturing, 2,000 soldiers, constant vulnerability to air attack. The Germans could have built 100 Panzer IV tanks with the same resources. After Sevastopol, it was moved to Leningrad but never assembled. Scrapped in 1945. Germany built the largest gun in history, and it barely mattered. Number 2, the Landkreuzer P-1000 Rata, the tank that never existed. The Landkreuzer P-1000 Rata was a proposed 1,000-ton tank, 5 times heavier than the Maus. War history. Online reports the specs: 2 battleship guns, 250mm armor, submarine engines, crew of 20 to 40. The size of a small building on tracks. Hitler approved initial designs in 1942. But even Nazi engineers said absolutely not. No engine could move it. No terrain could support it. No bridge could hold it. No factory could build it. Easy target for aircraft. In 1943, Albert Speer canceled it before serious work began. The Rata exists only in blueprints. It represents the endpoint of Nazi philosophy. If bigger is better, biggest must be best. Number 1, the Sonnenkanone, the space mirror that never left paper. The pinnacle of absurdity, the Sonnenkanone, or sun gun, an orbital mirror 22,000 miles above Earth, focusing sunlight into a heat ray capable of burning cities and boiling oceans. Hermann Oberth proposed it in 1929. The Nazis revisited it during the war. Life magazine reported on it in 1945 after discovery and captured documents. The CIA declassified documents showing German engineers actually studied this. The proposed mirror, 1.7 miles wide, constructed in orbit, rotating to track targets. Even if you solved the impossible engineering of building a mile-wide space mirror in 1945, it wouldn't work. Energy delivery too gradual. Clouds block it. Any nation capable of building it would have already won. The Sonnenkanone couldn't exist, but German engineers studied it while their army collapsed on every front. That's the tragedy. Germany wasted resources on impossible projects while neglecting practical weapons that might have mattered. 10 weapons that were supposed to change history, 10 spectacular failures. While Germany designed 1,000-ton tanks and orbital death rays, the Allies mass-produced Shermans and B-17. Wars aren't won by the best weapon, they're won by enough good weapons. If this hooked you, smash that like button and subscribe for more engineering disasters. Drop a comment. Which super weapon came closest to actually working? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.